Hello everyone, I'm Feño. This is the Early Print Podcast, doing a very quick episode because I have to be prepping for the fall preview that's coming out tomorrow. So if you want to tune in live for the fall preview tomorrow, Tuesday, during the night for me, I'll be live streaming that. But let's get into the action that we had on Saturday because we had a UFC event, one UFC event in history. We have UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. Let's get into the main event. So, a lot of us were not expecting like the super action-filled fight that the names would suggest in this fight, but yeah, it had its fair amount of action. The main theme of this fight was like Figueiredo trying to play leg lock games with Sandhagen, who had Ryan Hall in his corner, and that went as well as you would expect. You could tell that Sandhagen was very familiar with the entries that Figueiredo was trying. Figueiredo was like running to the legs, trying K-guard entries, going for 50-50s, and Sandhagen was just out scrambling him at every opportunity and landing huge ground and pound from top position, man. And when Sandhagen was on top, he was able to use his own leg lock game more effectively to reverse position. So yeah, I mean, very good performance for Sandhagen. I'm kind of mad at Figueiredo because like he should have realized that the grappling was not going his way, and he still went for it. He was having some limited success with leg kicks on the feet, so maybe he should have gone that way. Sandhagen, I think he got a takedown on the second round though, so maybe there was nothing that Figueiredo could do. But yeah, I mean, the Figueiredo didn't show up. Corey did look very good, but I think it was like the win was like handed to him given his skill set. It doesn't answer many of the questions that I have about the current place of Corey Sandhagen. I love the ground and pound and how well versed he was on the leg entanglement, so I gotta give him that. At the end of the fight, they were a 50-50. Figueiredo does the wrong move. His knee gave sap, so we didn't hit. It was a TKO stoppage, not a submission, but as Sandhagen said on the post-fight interview, like that was not unfortunate. Like he should know the consequences of getting into those kinds of positions. Sandhagen was better than Figueiredo, so all credits to Sandhagen for this victory. We're not going to do the the freak injury. It's such a shame. Like no, Figueiredo was fighting a bad fight. Corey Sandhagen was fighting a very good fight. That was it, man. Corey wants title shot next. He doesn't deserve it. Like, I'm sorry, this was a very good performance, but he's coming off a loss against Umar. Umar was not able to win the title. Figueiredo was himself coming off a loss against Peter Yan, so Sandhagen is top 5 at best, and at worst, I feel like there's like clearly 4 guys ahead of him. There's Merab, there's Umar, there's Shan, and there's Peter Yan. So I would say like the fight that makes the most sense is Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen, but O'Malley's getting the rematch despite not doing anything since losing the title. But the UFC loves their stupid rematches. They feel like Sean O'Malley is still a name that sells pay-per-views. Not very sure about that, but maybe the rematch against Merab is like the most profitable fight that they have on their hands. I'm guessing the UFC is like maybe making the Peter Yan rematch. That would be kind of interesting, even though I don't like rematches. But yeah, I mean, still, good for Sandhagen. Very good performance. Figueiredo back to the drawing board. I feel like he still has some pretty decent performances at a bantamweight, but it's time to stop with the delusion that he was like going to get into a title shot to become champion. That's not on the table anymore, and I think that's very clear after like the very solid decision that Peter Yan had over him, and now Corey Sandhagen winning over him. And you have to remember that fight against Chito, who did not look good, was like on very narrow margins. It depended on it hung on that knockdown at the third round at the hands of Figueiredo. So yeah. Or co-main event was the most hyped moment for me. We had a fight between Rainer, the Reader, against Bo Nickal, and I was expecting the Reader to be like complicated for Nickal, but at the end I decided to side with the American. I thought that he was going to be able to top game the Reader if things got ugly, and I thought that he was going to be like the quicker and cleaner striker. I did say during my predictions that if things got ugly, or if the Reader was able to drag him into like an ugly fight, he was going to win this fight, and that was exactly what he did. But he didn't do it like sloppily. It was like an ugly fight by design, because the Reader came with a very clear game plan of just sticking to Bo Nickal and working the body of him. Nickal wasn't like better than the Reader in the clinch. The Reader was mostly using a very simple strategy of just like using. It's a very good strategy for someone that is so big as him is in the weight class, and obviously he's like, I think he's a judo black belt. I don't know, but he's like very strong in the clinch. And Bo Nickal obviously strong too. But the Reader, what the Reader was doing was he was grabbing the overhook. This was Salpa against Salpa, by the way, but he was grabbing the overhook on one side, head positioning to stand Nickal up, and then he was controlling the far side either with wrist control, bicep control, or collar ties, depending on the situation. And he was forcing an open stance once inside the clinch, so he was like, if he got the whatever side he was grabbing the overhook, that was going to be his lead side. So he was like opening up the stance, and that was giving the openings for the uppercuts to the body and the knees down the middle. So very good performance. Nickal had a takedown here. He attempted a trip inside the clinch and finished with an ankle pick. Very cool finish there by Nickal. But then the Reader started like working the butterflies, elevations, and when he was able to get into like a single leg situation, Bo Nickal went for the guillotine. The Reader passes the leg, got top position. Bo Nickal was able to find a front headlock and get to his feet, but the Reader just kept working the clinch game. During the second round, the Reader just went at it, started like landing some knees from range, like stepping into knees, and that was the kill shot at the end of the day. He put him down. A fantastic performance by Rainer the Reader. Bo Nickal back to the drawing board. He's not developing at the speed that everyone was expecting. I still think Bo Nickal is talented, but there's something wrong with the training. Some people are saying like, oh, Bo Nickal should go to Thailand now. Hey, Bo Nickal trains at American Top Team. He has training partners. He has good coaches over there. So if he's having trouble not developing his striking, that's on him. Maybe the Thailand thing, it can work because it's like so focused on the kickboxing and all that kind of stuff, but there's some introspection that has to be done by Bo Nickal. His striking did not look good. His tactics inside the clinch in an MMA context, dealing with a larger guy that was striking with him, were looking very limited. And as I said, he has the training partners at American Top Team, so I get the feeling that Bo Nickal is not like getting the right kind of sparring. He's just like, he looked like a fighter that's used to run over guys, and the Reader looked like a complete MMA fighter here. So before that, we have a fight at Jackweight division. Shout out to my boy Dan Tom. D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez fought Santiago Poncinibio. Both guys looked a bit better than I expected, to be honest, but this was still like a not great fight. Also right though. Daniel Rodriguez though get the finish with like a 6-punch combination and round 3 and puts Poncinibio just melts. Poncinibio gets wakes up like super quick and stopped protesting, but he was like concussed shit. He was doing like if I was wrong, could I do this? And he started stumbling all over the cage. So good for D-Rod. I feel like he has had some like rough moments, especially like taking that fight against Gavin Gastelum, who missed weight, and it was a very close fight. So glad that D-Rod is back under William Column. Poncinibio's probably never returning to his old heights. He's not there anymore. Kind of sad. I felt like he looked in good shape. He has some good ideas here, but I feel like Poncinibio has never looked like super bad physically since returning, but he looks like super limited, like tactically, and I don't know if that's like some kind of limitations that he has to his training situation because of injuries. I'm not sure about that, but Ponzinibbio doesn't look the same, man. Before that, we had Montel Jackson against Daniel Marcos. This fight was awful, one of the worst that you will ever see in your life. Disgusting fight, really. Neither guy doing much. If I had to score this fight, I think I would go with a 30-29 for Jackson. Scoring the first 2 rounds as 10-10s because nothing really happened. No one really had an actual edge here. And then Jackson tried to actual work during the 3rd round. Marcos like kind of lame out the second part of the round, but was not enough to make up for the damage that Montel Jackson did early. If I was forced to score this without giving 10-10s, I would give it to Marcos actually, because I thought like if you point a gun at me and you force me to choose a winner for the first 2 rounds, I would say Marcos, but I'm glad Montel Jackson won here because he was the only one like kind of trying to do some damage here. Awful fight, disgusting. Both guys look awful. So yeah, I mean, terrible fight. No, I'm not going to even say like good for Montel Jackson. No, man. Like, think about your life, man. Before that, we have an actual decent fight at bantamweight between Seri City and friend of a friend, Cameron Smotherman, who trains with my boy Trey. Smotherman just didn't have the output, and Seri City showed up to be like a very complicated matchup for him because of the movement and the activity with the feints and shots and varied shot selection. You can tell Smotherman very good defense, a good counterpuncher. He puts good combinations together, but not very good at cutting the cage. He has that like Chris Curtis, Sean Strickland syndrome that he really needs to be in front of a guy to start hitting them. Even though he has like decent footwork and open space, once he starts hitting, he was like being turned around the cage by Seri City time and time again. He was having troubles with the output, the variety, takedown attempts. It looked like Smotherman could deal with all of that, but not with all of it put together. So Smotherman tried to show some urgency during the 3rd round, but not quite, man. Seri City here looked very, very good. So good for City. Like Montel Jackson and Daniel Marcos learn from this guy, man. Even though those two were the ranked guys. The opener of the main card was an absolute banger, at least for the first 2 rounds. Mason Jones against Jeremy Stephens, having his fight in Des Moines in front of his people. I'm not sure if he retired. I think he did. I don't know. This was supposed to be a retirement fight. Mason Jones, great output, working with the jab, with the snap kick to the body. But Stephens, a fucking dog, and showed up in shape. He was like working him, started finding the counter left hook, the cross counters, hurt Mason Jones during the 2nd round. Very good stuff by Stephens. But then it was clear when they tied up. Mason Jones was not only bigger, but like age catching up to Jeremy Stephens, because he was looking like Mason Jones way stronger than Stephens during the wrestling. And then when things got sketchy, Mason Jones went to his wrestling. It's something that he usually does. So he smothered Stephens during that 3rd round. But it was very fun for the first 2. So good for Jones to be back in the UFC. I don't think he should have been caught on the first place. And Stephens, man, he's a dog. He's a fucking dog. Jana Santos versus Misha Tate for whatever reason. Tate won the 3rd round. I think she took the back, landed some ground and pound. Was setting up my live stream, so really didn't see a lot of that fight. Misha Tate started the fight hot, but apparently Jana Santos ended up winning the 1st round, and then the 2nd round, Jana Santos won on the feet. Whatever, man. Neither of these girls are going to do much in the division, so they should be. I think they shouldn't be, but if they want to keep fighting, the UFC is probably going to use them to build up names. I feel like Jocelyn Edwards, who looked pretty decent last week, could use a fight against either of these guys here. Asamat Bikoyev fought Ryan Loader. I said, even though I'm not a bettor, but I said that Ryan Loader had the best line in the whole card because he was like plus 450 or something. But hey, Bekoyev look every bit of the favorite here. Just hurting Loader, who is like very limited with the striking. And Loader wasn't able to wrestle, man, when he was hurt. Bekoyev, obviously, coming from the Caucasus, a strong wrestler. Wasn't a very high output fighter when during his LFA run, but he has looked pretty solid. Maybe it's one of those cases where a guy gets like very motivated in the UFC, gets more aggressive instead of like getting lame when fighting a higher level of opposition. But I'm all for it, man. Bekoyev looked great here. Gillian Robertson fought Marina Rodriguez. Robertson just getting the takedowns, and Robertson. A thing that I forget usually is that Robertson is a very big 115 fighter. And it's because of the 10-pound difference between strawweight and flyweight is so big because they are so small, right? So it's not like 10 pounds is approaching like that. It's like 6 or 7%, so it's a big difference. It's not like 10 pounds between like 145 and 155, right? And those are still like considerable. But yeah, Robertson looked very big inside there. Not a lot shorter than Marina and like way bigger. Marina just not in there anymore, and that's the reason that she retired. I feel like his game hasn't been in the game, and she wasn't able to get it on the keep it on the feet. For Robertson, I tweeted after the fight, like Robertson might not have like the dynamism and like sprint scrambling abilities of like a Mackenzie Dern. She doesn't have like the endless possibilities, the language of a Birna Jandiroba, but what she does have is like very good passing, positioning, consistency, and better ground and pound integration than both Birna and Dern. Like Dern can be very ferocious with ground pound, but she has trouble maintaining control, and Birna is a lot more like control and scrambly oriented than it is like about the ground and pound lately. Even though she showed some improvements in that regard against Yan Xiaonan. But yeah, Robertson is legit at 115, man. Angela Hill said like she was calling her out, and that would be a very good fight. Before that, we have Quang Li against Gaston Bolaños. Quang Li just getting it done with the wrestling. And Bolaños was not winning the striking by any means either. I thought it was going to be a fun fight, but Quang Li like just showed levels on the ground. Gets the rear naked choke on the second round, man. Hopefully they keep Bolaños. They can give us like decent fight. Happy for Quang Li though, because he had like a very rough debut short notice against Chris Gutierrez. Got his leg kicked as expected, and then on the second round against Song, he got like knocked out in a very fun fight. So good for him. Thomas Peterson absolutely washed Dontel Mays. Just getting the takedowns, even winning on the feet, so good for him. And Juliana Miller showed once again that she's a dog. I mean, she's not like super skilled anywhere, but she has a very good excuse me. She has a very good grasp of grappling. It's a decent grappler. But she's like she's very gritty, and that can be a troublesome for fighters, and it was a problem for Ivana Petrovic here. So yeah, that was the event. It was okay, I guess, man. Like it wasn't great. Co-main event was fantastic. I love that. Not only because I'm not a fan of Bo Nickal, but I thought like the Reader fought a very cool fight to win. So if it was like just a fluke, it would have been funny to make a fan out of Nickal, but it was a great performance by the Reader, man. Check out I made a video on the other channel on the Fenyo TFS channel. Very short video about how the Reader used the overhook, the head positioning, and the far side control to land the knees to the body. So go check that out. And good for Corey Sandhagen too, man. We have very few fight announcements here. Gavin Tucker was supposed to fight Young Lee at UFC 315 this weekend. Daniel Santos is stepping in. Great, man. Great fight. Very looking forward to this one. What else we have? Jordan Levitt is fighting Kurt Holobaugh. Not super important at the 155. I'm just expecting that Holobaugh brings the violence here. It would be sad if he looks old and gets grappled by Levitt. Michael Chiesa is fighting Kurt McGee. Kind of getting a gimme here. McGee's a solid grappler though. He's strong, but yeah, Chiesa should have this. Let's take a look at the card. I won't get into details here, but we have UFC 315 this weekend. 2 title fights. We have Belal Mohamed against Jack Della Maddalena, and on the co-main we have Valentina Shevchenko defending her title against Manon Fiorot. So those are the top 2 main billings. I'm very excited about Mohamed versus Della, even though if Belal wins, it's not going to be a great fight. I don't know, man, no. Jack Della brings the violence and Belal is a dog, so actually, I think this is going to be a good fight. Shevchenko against Fiorot is like Shevchenko fighting a worse version of her, but a worse version that is bigger and is a lot younger and it has the output. I think, I don't know, man. Don't have a good feeling for Valentina here. Also in this card, we have a very important fight at 125. As former champion Alexa Grasso is fighting the rising prospect Natalia Silva. We'll see if Grasso looks to implement takedowns here, or if she gets in the face of Natalia Silva to get her punching going, because like Silva is like, she's very athletic, she hits hard, very good kicker, but she's not much of a boxer. Grasso might be able to get her in trouble here. Jose Aldo keeps being the GOAT and he fights Ayman Sahabi here. It would be like 90 level stuff if Sahabi wins for me. Brad Katona is fighting Beksat Almakhan. Good fight. Katona, when he fights a guy that can wrestle with him, he usually brings the fire, so I'm all for it. Marc-Andre Barriault is fighting Bruno Silva. Both of these guys are very washed. I don't know why they are getting like this like top of the prelims billing here, but okay. Mike Malott is fighting Charles Radke. Whatever, it's like decent welterweights that are unlikely to go anywhere. Jessica Andrade is back at 125 for whatever reason. He's fighting Jasmine Jasudavicius. Interesting because Jasudavicius is like very big, grapples well, and she's a dog. But Andrade still has power, so. Navajo Sterling, who fights out of City Kickboxing, is fighting Ivan Erslan, who I'm not familiar with. Hopefully it bangs. Modestas Bukauskas is fighting Iwon Kutelaba. That should be fun, if a mess. And as I mentioned, Daniel Santos is fighting Young Lee. I made a video about Daniel Santos, about Willy Cat, because he was supposed to fight like 2 weeks ago. So go check that one out too. I'm going to put the links to that and the Renner the Reader links in the description. Go also check out the MMA stances video. That's very good. That's fun. So go leave a comment on that one. Let me know which fighters do you want to see in part 2 of the MMA stances series of videos, where I check out of the stances, the benefits, and the downfalls of those stances. So yeah, that's the podcast. Just wanted to make like a short one because I gotta go work into the fall preview here. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember that if you want to support me and the podcast, you can head over to Patreon, get access to exclusive content for only like $1, $2, whatever you want to give. For $5, you get access to our Discord server that is very cool to talk about fights. You can also head over to our store, get a t-shirt. You know, the Body Punching Crew is very popular. The pivots don't work in MMA, all that. You can find that if you want to get some merch. Subscribe to the other channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the fall preview and on Saturday during the fights. So thank you so much guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.